Please die.
Shrine 1 and 2. Originally released in November of 2019 through indie developer Scumhead, with the sequel swiftly following suit in June of 2020, are a pair of retro FPS titles that essentially offer you two things: a classic Doom-esque shoot-'em-up experience, and a whole lot of eldritch monster killing. Oh, and they're also completely free. Now, I know I've already touched on the Doom Origins thing, but it's worth noting exactly how deep this little connection runs. While the games are now both available via Steam as standalone releases, Shrine 1 and 2 were originally released as total conversion mods for Doom 2. So any statement that goes along the lines of "it plays like Doom" is because this literally is fucking Doom. Shrine 1 and 2 are Doom 2, but with a gross, disgustingly Lovecrafty horror skin violently sewn over the top of it. And for the premium cost of absolutely sod all, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. So instead of a Doom guy, you're now tasked with trudging through the Elder World as Tusk, a skinless red dude with a violent grudge towards all things eldritch and evil. And that's about all you need to know. Go kill everything in sight. Utilising all of the best Doomisms that you can think of from the classic FPS era, Shrine 1 and 2 are nothing short of a double-barreled blast of dumb fun. The multitude of levels ahead of you are full to the brim with weird, wonderfully grim examples of level design, strange, spooky architecture, odd stretches of alien landscape, or bloody examples of previous violence. You might recognise the skeleton of Doom's level design staring back at you, but believe me when I tell you that Scumhead has done a fantastic job in distancing Shrine from it from a visuals point of view. Both games are absolutely littered with fresh, fleshy ideas, and if you are into this kind of retro thing and enjoy horror games, I guarantee you'll have a pretty good time working your way through the locations of Shrine. I mean, especially since you'll be doing a whole lot of killing in the process.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of...
Now, when it comes to the actual combat of Shrine 1 and 2, this is where the two games can differ ever so slightly. Shrine 1 is easily the more faithful of the two when it comes to drawing from its roots as a Doom game. Sure, you'll find the odd weapon that breaks the mold, but for the most part, the arsenal of Shrine 1 is far more recognisable when compared to what follows in the sequel, such as your typical handgun, shotgun, double-barreled shotgun, and chain gun. These are all familiar staples of the genre that Doom popularised, and the same can also be happily said for most combat encounters. Your classic dodging and weaving through hordes of enemies, the occasional boss fight that inevitably drains most of your resources but ultimately feels rewarding when the fucker finally keels over, or even just the possibility of triggering infighting between different monsters and letting them have at it with each other while you sit giggling in a corner. Shrine 1 has it all, and it's a lot of fun. But Shrine 2 does it better. Now sure, it's all still the same familiar style of gameplay, but where Shrine 1 establishes the eldritch, horror-inspired theme of the games, Shrine 2 is where Scumhead really goes all out. The weapons are now more elaborately designed and even more bizarre, such as a machine gun that shoots flies, an ice crossbow that offers you the opportunity to smash tougher enemies when frozen, and also gives you a secondary function by freezing water when needed, a shotgun that now fires 5 shells at once, or a gooey green grenade that Tusk rather smugly tosses into the air before lobbing it into an enemy's face. And this is just the beginning. There are over 20 different weapons in Shrine 2, and they just keep getting on more and more ridiculous, such as a flame axe, or a screaming holy crucifix, or the ability to summon demon puppies. And as for the enemies themselves, Shrine 2 again takes the foundation of the original mod and just keeps building on top of it. The enemies of Shrine 2 are weirder and more unpredictable, and a fair few of them are just downright creepy from a design point of view, such as these giggling floating head things that try to poison you. They're a pain in the ass to deal with, and once you've killed off the head, you then have to kill the hung corpse that has been dragging along. Or to look at a different enemy, you might find yourself blindsided by the Headless Branded, because, in true Resident Evil fashion, once you've killed a branded monster, it's eventually going to get right back up again and attack you from behind. Yeah, all in all, I like Shrine 2 a lot more. I still recommend the first game, but if you're forced to pick between the two, the sequel is absolutely where this little franchise shines. Now, in spite of my praise for Shrine 2, there is one thing that might be worth noting if you're downloading the Steam version, which is probably about 95% of people these days. The devs kinda goofed with the release build. A little bit, they goofed a little bit, and it might not even show up for you. A friend of mine didn't even have this issue, but I did, and a lot of people talking about it on the Steam community forums also did. The release build tends to include two things that really shouldn't be there. And the first are some old save files from 2020 that presumably the dev just forgot to wipe. And secondly, sometimes the cheats are automatically enabled, which means you'll load up a new game and have infinite ammo or possibly God mode right from the start. And if you don't realise for a little bit, you will find the game incredibly easy and not know why. And obviously these are easily fixed, just jump into the console and disable the cheats. And don't load the old save files, I guess. Start a new game and play Shrine 2 from the beginning, that's it. No further fixing required, it's not a big deal. Sure, it's a little sloppy, but this game is fucking free. I'm not going to criticize it for something that can be very easily resolved. And to be honest, that's about all I've got to say. Shrine 1 and 2 are an absolute blast if you're in the mood for a retro FPS, and they're all yours for the taking. And hey, if you really do fancy supporting the developer, which I highly recommend, why not pick up a copy of Vomitorium, which is another classic FPS inspired title from Scumhead, and one I certainly intend to review in the future. But for now, that's it from me. I'd like to thank my wonderful contributors over on Patreon for their continued support, in particular the highest tiers, Game Master, Dark Raptor 86, and BFD Survivor. Your help is extremely appreciated, as is all of yours who continue to watch and support the channel. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next review.